zone can be so real that you decide just not to grow. It's easier not to change. It's easier to stay the same. It's easier to stick in your comfort zone. It takes no discipline to stay the same. Growth occurs on the other side. And the call of God will always take you out of your comfort zone. God leads you out of the familiar, out of what you know, because when you get outside your comfort zone, you're put in a place where you learn to rely on His power and on His strength.
Deep and unique insights into agribusiness, services, ICT, and innovation, industrialization, and so much more. Entrepreneurs Hub, growing your small, medium, and large business entity. With yours truly, Sandra Kahunde.
This is Tano Tano from the Uganda National Lottery. Win up to 10 million every 5 minutes. That's right, a new draw every 5 minutes from 6:45 a.m. to 11:45 p.m. Pick your numbers, choose your wager, or go to Quick Pick and get in the game fast. Play at an authorized agent, online, or dial *278# from your phone. Win instantly. No waiting, no delay. Tano Tano is live. Your next chance to win is just 5 minutes away. Ituba is the proud operator of the Uganda National Lottery.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Hello, my name is Erica Murunji and welcome to Be Inspired by Erica. Respect your teachers and peers. If you respect your teachers, they can help you with some numbers that you don't understand, and your friends can also explain to you if you don't know a concept. Stay organized so that you can make your teachers happy. Learning discipline for a better tomorrow, because
don't miss out.
Our dear viewer, we are most welcome to this important edition of the State of Affairs. Ampere Amon Ortega is my name, and this is the source of information and inspiration. Tonight we've been joined by a very special team of guests who are going to be educating, inspiring, and empowering us tonight. Uganda is nearing the general elections, but there is one question that remains in everyone's heart. When it comes to elections, every election cycle that we get as a country, there's always chaos, violence, especially by the youth, but also spearheaded by some opportunistic politicians. And one thinks that the youth have been used. And now we want to know how best we can empower the youth to know that they are used and be able to be at the center and the forefront of defending this country, which we call home. I've been joined by Assistant Commissioner for guidance coming from the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, JJ Bakarpuira. Most welcome to this edition.
Thank you very much, Amon. Happy to be here.
From the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, they are responsible for guiding this country in the good direction that the country should take. And JJ is going to be guiding us on how best we can guide the youth of this country to be empowered, especially when it comes to general elections. As we are nearing to the season, they choose peace over violence. But also we have youth, I want to believe, and is a leader and is a director of the Seed Foundation. This is Have Kanyankore. Warm welcome to this edition.
Thank you so much.
Interesting. You're most welcome, our dear viewer of U24, and we're here that you may be inspired. But before we go into the national politics, we would love to first to go into the international arena. And we understand what really transpired at that level, and that will be also inspired, because this is the state of affairs and we go in every angle. Yesterday, China showcased a very greatest and grandest, if that word is there, a military parade where it was a show of power, politics, symbolism, and signaling, as they want to say, or they call it, in international relations and diplomacy. Doreen helps us to understand what transpired and took place in Beijing, China.
Yesterday, Beijing marked Victory Day with a grand military parade honoring the 80th anniversary of the end of the World War II in the Pacific. President Xi Jinping stood on the platform, declarations of China's rise as unstoppable echoing through Tiananmen Square. At his side, Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korea's Kim Jong-un, symbols of a growing axis beyond the West. The parade glittered with the newest military tech, hypersonic missiles, combat drones, robotic systems, and more. For Xi, the message was clear. China is forging a new path based on sovereign equality and multilateralism, united with like-minded states, not Western-led rules. In Washington, President Trump was watching. On social media, he offered a sharp rebuke, praising the display as very impressive, yet accusing the trio of conspiring against the United States. He also urged acknowledgement for the U.S. sacrifices during the war, wondering whether Xi would even mention the blood the United States shed for China's freedom.
Really a show of symbolism, signaling, and also show politics and power. China is taking a different direction, and it is said that for the very first time over the years to have three presidents come together. We're talking about Xi Jinping of China, President Vladimir Putin, and North Korea's Kim Jong-un. That was indeed historical, but also President Donald Trump said that whatever they was doing in Beijing, they expected to for Trump to be watching, and he said, "I was watching."
Yes.
What do you make of yesterday's parade by the China? Let me start with you.
Good evening, viewers. I think, one, it's always a pleasure for me to have a word before the media, the international and national audience. So if I can give a brief comment about the Chinese National Military Parade. There's so much irony when it comes to international peace and security, going back to the World War I and II, then coming up of the United Nations Security Council and all that. There's much irony. One, there should be a restriction on who does what and when. That's number one, because having three main superpowers coming together just to look at the warfare that is already there, that is set up, it communicates a lot. That means they are already preparing for war. That's the first thing. And looking at Chinese vision, because they have a vision that by 2027 they should be the world's #1 warfare nation, as well as Vision 2040, whereby they want to be the greatest nation economically, socially, politically, and militarily. It's both, a good and bad thing, because as a nation you should have the capacity to protect yourself, but also internationally it gives us a negative rhythm and rhyme. Yeah.
Interesting. Commissioner, JJ?
Yeah, thank you so much, comrade, for really bringing us to speed of what happened in China. It's very interesting. And what I picked from there that Trump was watching.
And expected him to be watching.
Yes, yes, exactly. That's the way we should go. The world should not understand that now other people should be closed in and others are not are given open space. When now there's a celebration in China, China is part of the world, is part of the globe, and we know its position in the geopolitics of the entire globe. So even the other people should watch. And you know, we should also break the narrative that when there's a military parade, it is calling for war. The military has been there ever since the creation of man. Those who read the Bible know the story of the sword at the gate of the entry of God of the God's world. The swords are not used for cutting butter alone, but also preparing for that security of the thing that you have. So the narrative of saying that where there is a military parade, it's calling for war, it's not correct. To me, I look at it as an inspiration to the young people, because most of these people doing the parade are not the old, they are the young. So what does it build among the young generation? It builds that spirit of self-determination to know that now you must play a role in building your nation wherever you are. And the military is at the front of it, of building the bridges, building infrastructure, constructing industries, going to the chemical industry, because they have that spirit of the revolutionary spirit and patriotic spirit. That's something which is obvious out of their training. So when it is that, I am sure that now the young people out there, they want to be part of that process of nation building. And I think that is okay. When you say, yes, people should be, the only thing I see that now, when there's a parade, the young people should be informed that parades and military hardware and whatever, it's not for war, but it's also for preparing for the security. Every society needs to be secure. Then the people within that body politic can know that, yes, we can engage in science, innovations, because we are secure. When we are not secure, innovations will never be there. So to me, I feel that this is a good message, and the world should take it with the spirit it deserves, in good faith. It's not that now we are going to be attacked tomorrow, and let us pick a leaf from there.
Fear.
Not in fear. Yeah, not in fear. I would wish to see that now in the sub-Saharan African states come up and now build a critical mass of the young people, the energetic people, and then we use them in security, we use them in production, we use them in shaping the direction of the socio-economic transformation agenda of all the sub-Saharan states. And then we shall develop. When you look at these young people here, many of them are not only marching, but I'm sure that out of the marching, they are going to get involved in very many other activities that build the nation, that build China. That's the way I look at it.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for your comments on that. And we shall always bring you such stories, and also from national to the region to the continent, and also at the international level. Let's go direct to today's discussion. And the topic we are saying that how best can we empowering youth for the peaceful elections. According to Electoral Commission's calendar or roadmap, we have started the nominations at all levels, and years up for the campaigns and also the general elections. We are counting only a few months, not even 4, but next year, January, we're supposed to be into the general elections. But every time we think about the elections, then so very many parents are in fear for their sons to be killed, to sustain injuries, and those who survive injuries and death, they of course go into prisons. And one wonders the kind of season that we're nearing, who is safe. But before we go into and getting your comments on that and into our discussion, Rorin helps us to understand the politics and chaos and violence, especially in Uganda's election processes. Rorin?
Youths are used by opportunistic politicians. They are bought, they are manipulated, and when money fails to control them, they are pushed into chaos and violence. Many end up injured, others lose their lives. Families friends, and communities are left in tears and sorrow. And those who survive the violence are sometimes arrested, carrying the burden, and those who survive the violence are sometimes arrested, the burden of battles that were never theirs to begin with. These incidents cut across all political parties. Recently, chaos was witnessed at the DP Delegates Conference in Mbarara and again at the NRM Delegates Conference at Kololo Independence Grounds. Though lives were not lost and no serious injuries reported in these cases, the truth is much darker. During primaries and general elections, countless Ugandans, especially the youth, lose their lives in the name of politics. Election violence does not build the nation. It robs Uganda of its brightest energy, its future leaders, and its hope. Today, we open the discussion, empowering youth for peaceful elections, because every life matters and peace is the true power of democracy.
So our topic today, how can we empower the youth to choose peace over violence? This is the only home we have. And tonight, being joined by JJ Balkuila, is the Assistant Commissioner for Guidance coming from the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, and how I wish you guide this country and the youth that are watching us tonight to understand that there is a life after elections.
Thank you
Why do
very
you
much.
think the youth are drawn into violence?
First of all, I think I would want to agree that the youth are drawn into violence is by a certain other force. Young people are not born and baptized to live in violence. There must be another factor that causes them to go into violence. And now when bring it to the particular aspect of elections, really, are people produced in their homes and then they are trained that now you should go into violence? Not at all. Every home deserves peace. Every home desires peace. When they are growing up, we are trained in various values and peace at the center of it. Many of us believe in a God and as a country, and I'm sure in many homes, parents are telling their children to pray, and in the prayer, they put peace at the center of it, at the center of humanity. So let us ask ourselves, where does now this element of violence come into the young people? There must be some other factors. And today, as we are preparing for elections, it is very incumbent upon us to be able to tell the people, the entire population, that no, violence is not good for our young generation. When you kill a young generation, you have killed a nation. People should change that kind of thinking, and they know that if you build a young man, he goes into the element of election peacefully, then the nation will be able to grow. And elections are constitutional obligations. And in our country, they tell us that now, it says after the age of 18, you are supposed to participate in electoral processes. But do we prepare the youth enough? Or can we go through the education systems from the primary, secondary, university? And at 18, at least somebody in Uganda has finished his A-level, S6, is yet into university or yet to go into university. Intellectually, that's a grown-up mind. But then, responsibly, is that person grown up? Does he now appreciate that now I have got a responsibility of participating in elections peacefully? To me, I see that there is a missing gap there. And then, what is the mitigation to that? If young people at that age, they are not yet nurtured into appreciating that now elections very good for us all to shape the political direction of a country, which is going to manage the affairs of our country, both social, political, and economic, then there's trouble. So we need now to put interventions in place to be able to shape a holistic young man or woman from the word go, when it knows that now elections are for the good of the country, and to have peaceful elections is a very fundamental obligation for everybody, and be able to inspire them that peaceful elections can yield for better results that will make them enjoy the outcome of that election. Because when you elect, you put a government in power, and that government in power is obliged to meet the aspirations of its people. And one of the aspirations that is there is the economic growth. And economic growth will come up when parameters are put in place to turn material into wealth. So if the young man knows that, yes, or woman knows that, yes, I have a role to shape the government which I want to be in power, to turn the wealth which we have in plenty in Uganda, the endowment in Uganda, turning them into wealth so that I can be able to access all my needs. I access health services, I access education, I access good infrastructure, so that you shape that desirable life of all the Ugandans. If the young person knows that one, then he'll be able to be inspired enough and really be able to participate, first of all, and also consciously be able to elect the person whom they feel that is going to deliver on their aspirations. And not as young people, but as a nation. Because these young people have got relatives, parents, or grandees and whatnot. We wouldn't wish now to the young people to be given the burden of now saying that now my parents are in tears and whatnot. Young people should play that contributory role to shaping that kind of society that we need. So as the country, as a people, we need to bring ourselves to speed in the component of ideological orientation of the young people, to know what's good for themselves, what's good for the communities, and what's good for the country. And also be able to shape the ideological outlook of the old, those who are participating in the political space, those who are managing this kind of process, to make them appreciate that it's very dangerous for you to recruit a young person, radicalize that younger person to be able to detest peaceful means and cause him to move into violent extremist realities.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Interesting. Commissioner says that there is a missing link. There is a problem. There is a challenge. And I have a youth here. I want to believe that by your age and the way you look, you are still a youth. I'm wondering, why is that missing link? I'm wondering, why is the problem? What is confusing? What is perplexing? What is really making the youth to be used by the opportunists, to be used by politicians, to the extent of losing their lives, to the extent of being in prison, to the extent of being missed by their families and loved ones? Why is the problem that this generation is missing?
Thank you so much once again to you 24 and our listeners. Sorry, our viewers
and listeners.
I, as a youth, and by the way, I want to first thank the people that I'm appearing with, because such a topic, that means their interests is into developing the nation. So, as a youth, I believe in collective responsibility. That's number one. And here we must look at the old, the middle-aged, and the young. How do we come together so that our future can be a sustainable one, can be a peaceful one, can be a developed one? Now, with that kind of ideology, we now come into our personal responsibilities. If I'm a leader contesting on a specific position, and the people who are campaigning for me are not peaceful, that means I'm the one in wrong. I must blame myself first. The rest, it is a matter of command. And as of now, we all know Uganda's elections have been characterized by violence, chaos, like it has earlier been mentioned. And we can't deny that, to an extent that even on the international level, it is highly recognized. So we must first admit, and from admitting, I like the Electoral Commission's report. When I was reviewing it for the third time this time, looking at the 2020-2021 elections, the report highlighted a challenge of violence as a big one. Now, that means it is not just us that are looking at it. It means the Electoral Commission, which is the national election organizing body, has recognized that as a problem.
And is concerned.
But the question is, how do we stop that challenge from coming in over and over again? And amidst that, we have come ahead to see the youth being involved in all these issues, from mere abusing to fighting each other, both physical and online. What's wrong? What has gone wrong? We must really change the way we think and how we look at things, how we appreciate our country. For the past 60 years, we have, as a nation where we have come from, it is our mandate to make sure that the people who will be here when we are gone appreciate the role that we have taken in building our country. Therefore, I must begin by calling upon the youth, because it's our role to play, that we need to come together. Let's come together. Let's look at this as an issue we can solve. Let's not blame this onto anyone. It's us.
But
Why
there are
do
people who say that the youth are targeted and also used. Do you want to believe that?
I believe that, but there is an issue why they also fall in for that. There is.
What is that?
From a personal opinion, I will say issues range from economic to social.
Frustration.
Frustration. They also say that you bend a tree when it's still young. So that's a reason to think about. But from there, the fact that you're 18 years and above, then you are a grown-up person who has an independent mind, a mind that can decide independently, think as a man, as a woman. Therefore, not just going to the Electoral Commission, but to us, ourselves, as young people, have we emulated the old people, what they are doing?
Talking about frustration, according to the pictures that we see right on our screens, these seem to be empowered youth, not frustrated. And one wonders if the empowered youth or empowered Ugandans can reach this extent, what do we pick as the young generation, as they want to call them, the Gen Zs?
Now, empowerment isn't what you are seeing there. We need ideological empowerment. Can we look at discernment as another sense? Can we differentiate good and bad? Because irrespective of who you are, not until you differentiate what is good and what is bad, there is no empowerment there. That means you are you're not empowered. You have no ability to know or to act positively and negatively, distinctively. So we must have the ideological empowerment first. And I remember way back when I was at Mbara High School, we were in elections as I was a prefect there. The campaigns were always peaceful, extremely peaceful. Why? Because before we entered into the campaigns, we were always told one thing, that what your campaign does is upon you. Meaning, it is up to you to act well, and you lead your people first, then the rest can also believe in you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Commissioner JJ, come to you. Harvey says that we talk about empowerment, but people can be empowered economically, but also we're talking about ideology. And when you talk about empowerment, we always look at the ministry and the government. Why is the problem? Have the youth failed you, or you have failed the youth that we have reached this extent?
That's a very interesting question. Have we failed the youth, or they have failed us? From my early assertion, young people are born and the character is created along their growth path. So who shapes their character into violence? Who is responsible for that? They are push and pull factors. And I believe that it is the entire duty of the establishment to put parameters in place to shape the character of the young people. in intellectual knowledge accumulation, government has done very, very well, because the number of universities are now quite many, the number of secondary schools are quite many, primary schools. There are many avenues for people to shape their knowledge development, cognitive knowledge, doing very well. But that's not enough. There's what we call building a national consciousness that can tap into one's value judgment to shape his outlook, where he can be able to use the knowledge he has to fit into the national interest and the common good of a country. And that's where now appreciation of the political environment of a country comes in. And this one's cross-cutting across all disciplines. Even if you have done political science at university, it doesn't mean that now you are consciously competent enough to make rational decisions. And most often than not, if people even who have studied at that level are not shaped into that national outlook, they can also be drivers of violence, extremism, of violence. So that's why it is put even in our, His Excellency has always guided that it's a very imperative for us actors, both government or state and non-state actors, to shape the consciousness of young people through deliberate programs that now be able to make them appreciate themselves as Ugandans, themselves as an asset to transforming Uganda, and then also appreciating themselves that they're also key actors in shaping the political direction of the country. Or as one said, that self-discovery, that knowledge. World over, it is written in our books that countries that have made it change from the bad state to another, they have now invested heavily in ideological orientation. But unfortunately, Uganda, since independence, we were denied that element of ideological orientation. Some other people say when you talk about ideology, it's a big word. No, it's not a big word. It is just shaping the thought systems, your outlook into putting everything in the perspective of a country, the general good. They do it deliberately. Some other countries do it through programs like national service. I remember one time in history, the young people in London wanted to riot, to go on the street. Cameroon then was the prime minister of England. And he said, no, for us now to be able to put England to the shape so that the young people don't destroy what has been achieved over time, the young people should go into the national service program. Does it mean that London did not have enough universities?
It had.
It has. Not enough secondary, it had. But there is that deliberate program where people go and look at the deeper analysis of society, deeper analysis of the problems. They look at the causes of the problem. They look at the possible solutions that have been put in place, and they nurture those possible solutions for posterity.
Have we reached to that extent that we need that being implemented here?
I'm coming to that. Uganda has got a history where we have gone, and our history constitutionally has not been very, very good. We have got it. We have got the extremists like the Amin regimes and whatever. But the NRM, when it came into power in 1986, he said that one of the commitment was to reestablish a democratic framework, and did it through local council elections, RCs and whatever. And behind the RC settings, there was that ideological element of shaping the people. There was, if I don't know whether you heard about the Muchaka Muchaka. Yeah, Muchaka Muchaka was a deliberate program to demystify the gun, to make people understand that the gun is not to oppress them, but should be for protecting themselves and giving enough environment for them to produce for their good. And did very well. And that Muchaka Muchaka program helped sure the souls of Ugandans. And then we combined Uganda as a force, and we drove towards anchoring that democracy. That democracy is later then came up into the constitutional framework. And now we are now announcing a constitutional government with a written constitution by the people of Uganda. And moved on along. In the secondary schools, there was the program of political education. Did you go through it? I think it had been abolished by that time. You wonder now, if the guidance has been, let us now empower people and build their consciousness. Where on earth do you come up and then throw away the knowledge?
We had the Scouts.
The Scouts program.
We had the Patriotism Clubs.
The Patriotism Club. And
we also had crime preventers.
Yes. Those are programs that now are shaped to shape the national outlook, the national consciousness. You ask yourself, we had tyrant leadership in this country. The voters came up. His Excellency comes up, he said this program, and the elections at that time were peaceful. So why is it that now today we are having violent elections? So there is a missing gap. First of all, in education, you throw away the political education program. Good enough, when they have reviewed it, now it has been put back. Yes. But the time we've lost, we've now created a young man coming out of the education system when he's totally ignorant about his country. Is it very ignorant about the need for working together, regardless of our diversities? Because Uganda is a country with 65 different nationalities. But we should work together. That should be an advantage.
Okay.
So that is the gap which we lost. Now, apparently today, I thank the president that now, in the year 2009, he directed that now we open up patriotism clubs in secondary schools. But those are secondary schools. But how about the entire society? Then he also put the Department of National Guidance to take care of the entire scope of the population in putting programs to shape their ideological outlook. Very good, the department is there. But let us look at now what are the parameters that can support this department to do effective work on its mandate. The parameters are still desirable. So my call, before I'm going to come, my call when I finish this point, as a country, as state actors, it is incumbent upon us to adapt deliberate programs to go and be able to popularize these programs that will be able to shape the outlook of young people and also the old people, because all of them live in tandem. Yeah. The people who are now recruiting the young people into violent political activities are those ones who are contesting for political positions. Yeah. And amongst them, there are the young and the old. But when you look at the biggest number, who are those ones who are now capable of doing that one?
It's the young.
The young are many, very good. But now come to think about if these young people are organized in a manner where they are very conscious about it, how will they be manipulated? Those people who are now chasing for political positions, they just take it as an advantage. So it is now incumbent upon us all to ensure that now, as we are going to election, the electoral body has announced, national guidance is there, education is there, every actor should come up and rise up and say, we want a peaceful election. Yeah.
Do you think that is really possible to be done in this country? They always say that in life there are two things. Everything comes with two things, two sides of the coin, pros and cons, and also consequences. Even development comes with consequences. Yeah. Is what we are witnessing and experiencing as a country consequences of democracy? Have we grown to that level?
You know, the growth of democracy should not be independent of ideas. Democracy should grow with the consciousness. But if the consciousness is low, and then you are looking at elections as the only parameter to judge that one, there's a missing gap. So today, for us to have the popular democracy that is desirable, the consciousness must be also much in tandem. So that now even those ones who are in the political space should be conscious enough that it's very injurious to radicalize the young people.
Okay.
Then the other actors, both the religious actors, the cultural actors, everybody should be able to say that, to come up and say, we want a peaceful elections. And it can be done.
We have seen them come through, and we have seen in the Religious Council, we have seen all the NGOs come through, and all the government institutions call for peaceful elections, but they stop on that.
That's why I said deliberate programs.
They always say the ground is a different story.
Now, assuming that we put a peace symposium, electoral peace symposium at the State Square, and everybody is there. Ministers, NGOs, executive officers, we are all there calling for that. And that one, when that message comes out, it will inspire the young people. They'll be inspired, and they will see that, yes, I think our leaders are looking towards that. But we should not leave it now that, let's say I got to the district level, people think that that's the role of the RDC. And when behind the RDC, there is the security committee. And behind the security committee, the police is ready to handle anybody who goes against the law, constitutionally.
Interesting. Thank you, Commissioner. How can the youth avoid violence and choose peace?
Number one, currently we have violence. So before we look at just avoiding, how can we prevent it? That's the first question. And when you look at most of the youth leaders we have today, the NLM has majority of the positions in the youth governing structure, right away from LC1. We must now, I'm saying we because I'm part of them.
Indeed.
We must now, as the youth, think, what do we want? Because I don't expect myself to be on that television being watched everywhere, fighting. You see that? I am sure he's not proud of what he was doing when you look at even the way he was commanding. That's why I talked about discernment. Even as a youth at a local level, first think, is what you're doing right or wrong? Does it really nurture the values from your home? Do you emulate your neighbors or your family's acts? Is what you're doing actually rightful to make your people proud? That's the first thing. Now, with that kind of mindset, we are preventing what is already happening for it to happen. Secondly, when it comes back to the ruling government, I usually give credit where it's due. We must agree that the NRM has put a structure whereby if you want to be a mindful person, you will be. That is the one thing we must first agree, and we commend them on that. However, every organization has its challenges. But what happens when the challenges keep arising consistently? Then you need to restructure. You need to rethink. You need to be creative. What are the things that we as the youth can involve in alongside the government that will make us really perform better than how we are performing? One is ideological. We must enforce our minds with rightful thinking. Two is participation. If I want a bold leader, I will emulate myself as a bold leader. If I want a peaceful leader, then I will become a peaceful leader myself. Now, I'm acting. When you're acting, there are people that you don't see that will be inspired by your actions. Those are the young, those are the same age, and those are the old. That's where I brought in the issue of collective responsibility. We can only be collectively responsible when we decide to act. And when you look at the 2020-2021 elections, I was among the team that I was working with an NGO called Community Justice and Anti-Corruption Forum. And then we had a program that was helping young people who have been caught in fights and they're in prison, helping them with court procedures freely. Why? Because we know and we understood that whereas they were acting negatively or in dangerous situations in a bad way, there was a reason behind. And which kind of reasons are those? One, poverty, and two, influence.
Okay.
Money has become a challenge, and like the Electoral Commission reported in their previous elections report, that another challenge was money, politics,
buying votes and
bribery. Exactly. We have also seen it in the previous NRM elections. So the use of money has also become a problem. Young people are being taken for granted, whereby they also now look at the aspect of commercialization as a way to create influence.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you also talked about frustration, that most of the youth are being used because they are vulnerable but also frustrated. And if I can put the same question that I put to the commissioner, do you think that the government has failed you as the youth, or the youth of this country has failed the government?
When we include in the word failure, then we have also failed as a community, as leaders. And as a youth leader, I will boldly say that government has not failed us. However, are we really in touch with government? Have we demanded what we feel we deserve? That's the question. And secondly, have we utilized what we have on ground? One thing that the youth are not utilizing is education. Education not from school, but the information that we need, that is available for us. Elections is a right. Participation is another right.
It's a duty.
It's a duty, actually. Now, have we participated? But in our participation, are we considering the other people, the effects that we have on the other people? That's another question. And the answer is, we can only play the right role when we decide to play it. If we keep on blaming government, even for what they have given us, there's nothing that will change. In fact, we shall have thousands and thousands in Luzira, and other areas.
Interesting. Thank you. We don't wish anyone to be in Luzira or in elsewhere. But Commissioner, I want to ask you and learn from you today.
Yes.
You are the commissioner in charge of guidance, and you come from the ministry that was established, as you said, Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, but also have another ministry of integrity.
Ethics and integrity.
Ethics and integrity. But the way how some Ugandans behave, one wonders if we still have national values. Do we?
That's where the whole thing comes to be complex. We have Ministry of Ethics and Integrity.
It could be an
Very
institution.
Good. Very good. That's a very good institution. But apart from that one, we have also the religious organizations. And they are growing in number every day. Every day. This government has got that's very good.
What do they preach? Because what we are getting from the communities, the mirror that reflects what is coming from the communities, corruption,
yes,
violence in elections, bribery, killings, murder, robbery.
All those vices, moral decadence.
Yes.
Are in the increase. So those vices are increasing. So you ask yourself, what is the missing gap? And His Excellency has guided very well. Always
the missing
guided.
gap, I would say, maybe institutions have failed somehow, somewhere at work.
We should accept, let us first of all accept the reality. Are we working? Are we doing what is supposed to be done?
Some people sleeping on their jobs.
People sleeping on the job. If we all agree that there's a big problem of social consciousness and know that now we need to fix it, we can fix this country. Absolutely. If we all accept that now apparently, because of those gaps, there's increasing political violence, political hooliganism, then we shall be able to fix the problem of this country. If we deny it, then we are doing a disservice to this country. You have talked about now the use of money in politics. How many times has His Excellency talked about it? He talks about every day. But now in the current elections, it is glaring. We don't even need to read the Electoral Commission report. Everybody can see it. We saw what the leaders said, that now the use of money has compromised the sanity of the country, has compromised the democracy of the country. And if we accept that, and now we all say that, let us now come up and fix it, we can fix it. So from the national guidance perspective, the ministry where I come from, we are now looking at programs that now can be able to support, to help in shaping mindset change, shaping the minds. We have designed programs for community mobilization, community barazas, and we are yet to launch our program on via the radio and the media on National Guidance Media Platform, where we are going to have mentors, national mentors. People have seen it, to come up and talk to the population, mentoring the people along value systems, along the democratic principles that now NRM are tested through, that pushed us from where we are, from where we were, up to where we were, where we are all enjoying about all these developments that we are seeing. We cannot afford to lose the commitment which was put across by those ones who sacrificed to shaping the direction of this country. Yeah, we have that a duty. We have it a duty. So now for us, we are saying the only way to do it is to make sure that we have as many barazas, peace barazas, to go across the entire country, at every district, at every sub-county. And apparently we can do it. When you look at now, just someone gave me, let me give this kind of an example. Let me look at the nationalism movement government. They went through primary elections. So they have leaders from the district level, sub-county level. At the district level, they have executive leaders, the DECs. They are there. Those should be the drivers of preaching this message, because they are the mirrors of the revolutionary intentions and intent. They should be, but also we should not take it for granted that they know. No, we should go and be able to teach them. Teaching them. Chairman Mwambao said that the China we must be founded on concrete values of the China, and the tonic to that is the teaching, teaching, teaching. And His Excellency up today is a teacher. I always love his examples. Let us emulate the teaching.
Interesting. The conversation is still good, and really I'm enjoying, but time is not on my side. I would expect and request you gentlemen to give your parting shots and call to action. I will start with you, Harvey, and then we'll end with the Commissioner.
Thank you. Now, there are specifics we must also look at before we part on. That is the key aspect or the key word in our discussion. Youth and peace. Because we can't run away from that. It's not just the youth. Because you can tell he's not in our definition of the youth.
But he's a stakeholder.
But he's a stakeholder.
And committed to.
And a committed one, by the way. Yeah. So we must first commend the role that is being played by the mature age.
That's right.
You know, the mature stakeholders. Now, from appreciation, we go to commendation. We have looked at the problem and recognized it, and we have seen people have gone through it. So, can they teach us how they went through it?
Very good.
Are we willing to learn what they are teaching us? And not just learning, but can we practice it? I have always told my fellows, for someone who was in scouting, went to patriotism and to crime prevention, why would I go on the streets doing what I usually see other people doing? And some of the response I get is that for you are not in pain. But it will be more painful to me if I lose you. Because you won't feel the pain, you're no more. But me, who has now remained, it will be a problem to me. So let us first, as the youth, realize that the other stakeholders have given us a chance to participate peacefully, and let us not allow being used. Like Commissioner has said, the ministries have really put up a lot of structures and programs for us to actively take part, actively build our country better. Let's utilize those chances, and let's also preach to our young ones that we need a better future, and we cannot have a better future when we are doing the destruction When you look at the destruction that was happening the other day at Kololo,
Yeah.
whereas they may not have categorized it independently, it costs something. It costs money. It costs time. The postponement of the youth of the elections of the youth,
yes.
it costs resources and time. So we must not drive away from that. We must also, one, be thankful of the government and the structures that are there, and two, emulate their work, then learn from them. Like from the president, he's a great teacher. We must also recognize that and practice what they are telling us to do, because I believe what they are telling us is to the best of us.
Your last comment?
My last comments is that let's look at our motto as a country: for God and my country. And you cannot be with God when you're really doing the bad things.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Commissioner Jeje Bakalukwira.
Thank you so much. My last part is, I call upon all the political actors, those ones who are participating in the political class, those who are looking for the votes. Let us, them first of all, ask themselves and look, reflect, what does Uganda want? We want a peaceful Uganda. Turning the chaos into a good space, they have a very big role to play. And I want to call upon all those ones who are in charge of electoral process to put clear sanctions that if somebody is somehow seen to be participating in influencing the young people into violence, making the use of money, putting money into the politics, let that person be disqualified. If that whips, then the political class will now behave in the way we want them to behave. The young people are not a problem. I've been talking to many outside there. When you talk to them, you see that they are really innocent, but they are lured into that one. And this assertion that's not correct, because even those ones who are there, whom you are saying that they empowered, those ones who are really on average able to access, they go into it. Okay. So let us now crack the whip. Then second, that's now using the sanctions. Then secondly, we need to empower the young people and the entire population to appreciate the value of peace, so that we can walk the values of peace. We can tow the messages that can be able to deliver a peaceful election. And I want to assure our viewers and listeners that getting a peaceful election in Uganda is not rocket science. We can have it. Between now and the time of election, we can have a peaceful elections. But it will not come only through prayer. We must pray to God, but also we must be able to participate in being able to achieve that desired goal of peaceful election. Okay. We must address the common good. We must address what we deserve for God and my country.
Thank you so very much, and that brings us to the end of our conversation tonight. We're discussing how we can empower the youth for peaceful elections. As the country nears general elections, we have started the nominations, and a few months we're going to go to polls, and how I wish that we come together as the people of Uganda, observe all the guidelines by the Electoral Commission, and also vote peacefully. This country belongs to all of us, and we may not have any other country better than this one that we call home. My call to action, my message will go to parents. They always say that manners or charity begins at home. I want to believe that a parent, if you talk to your son, if you talk to your daughter, if you talk to your cousin, if you talk to your brother, perhaps we're going to get a better country, we're going to get a better election process. We don't expect anyone to be in prison because of elections. We don't want to lose any life, because we want to believe that every life matters. And we want to believe that we can go through this period of elections without missing anyone and without sustaining any serious or even minor injuries. And no one should be in prison for supporting a given or certain candidate. That brings us to the end of the state of affairs. We've been talking about the youth and elections, and I want to believe that you've picked a leaf. Until next Thursday, same time, same station. And by the Amon Otega, and from me and the team, it's a good night.